One of the most important things that a teacher can do to have effective classroom management is start the class off right. And this starts from the very beginning of your period. So this doesn't start when the bell rings and the student's supposed to work. This starts the moment that one class leaves and the other class comes in. Think about this now. If your first 5 minutes of class are chaotic, disruptive, you name it, things are going crazy, how do you think the rest of the period is going to be? It's going to be just the same or not even worse than that. So how you start your class is so crucial to having a good class period. And that starts the moment that the kids are ready to walk into your room. So for me, I've done different things over the time. I had students line up outside and everything else. But for me, the best thing that I do, or I do now, is I'll have this door propped open. So I have this little wedge right here. And so as the students are leaving, I'll prop this up before my last period ends. The students leave, doors open, because this way they're not open the door, slamming the door in people's faces and all that stuff. So students are leaving, this is propped open. And then as soon as all the students leave, I'll start have students coming into the next period. My position on this is important because if I'm at my desk, which is in that corner over there, or if I'm back there, or if I'm somewhere else being distracted by something, I cannot manage the energy coming into the room. Because if kids are coming out hyper excited, touching each other, poking each other, yelling, and I don't stop it right here, that is just going to come into the entire classroom and it is just going to spread to all the students. So I'm usually at the door right here, kind of right here. That way I can see what's going on out there. That way also I can see what's going on in here at the same time. And that way as students walk in, I can control the energy. Or it might just be right up there as well. But here are things I'm looking for. As students are walking in, I'm making sure they're not coming in all hyper, yelling and everything else. Also what I'm looking for is maybe some electronic devices. If I see them walk with their phone, before they even come into the class, I'll tell them, put your phone away. Or if I see them walking towards my class and they're getting ready to go to my class and they have earbuds in, I'll tap my ear like this, and they know means take your earbuds out. So before the class even begins, before they even enter the classroom, I'm already controlling the energy and the behavior before it even gets into the class. That is the number one thing. And then, because I want to make sure kids are not late, I have a policy in my class that if you're not in the classroom before the bell rings, you're considered late. And so what I'll do is we have like a 1 minute bell. When the 1 minute bell rings, I will take out this little wedge right here and I will close the door. I'll still stand right here though, but I'll kind of close the door. That is a signal to anybody out there that's trying to make it to my class on time. They see the door is closed, they're like, uh-oh, bell's about to ring. And so they're gonna hustle to get here. And if they do get here in time, I kind of prop the door open and they come in. But once again, still controlling that energy and everything else. But by closing this a minute beforehand, it gives them a visual cue that class better get in and they better hurry up and get into the classroom. Now that students finally are all into the class, the bell rings, right? I'm right here, students are doing their thing. I have taught my students, and we practice it at the very beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, I spent 3 weeks in all these rules procedures. And one thing I really hone in on is that for the first 5-10 minutes of class, don't ask me any questions. Don't distract me. First 5-10 minutes of class is where I take care of my housekeeping. And so they know, they've been trained, and we've done it time and time again. They know to come in quietly, sit down, and start the work. And I will always have something on the board for them to work on. So let me kind of show you what it looks like in the front of my room, so that way you'll know what the students see when they come into the classroom. So once again, my goal is to have the students working on something independently for the first 5-10 minutes of class while I take my housekeeping. And so I have different things in place to make sure that happens. First thing I want to point out is this timer up here. I actually set the timer so that is starting before the students even walk in. So when they walk in, this timer is already going. It's a visual cue, once again, of how long they have to complete the task. Because if you don't have a timer and kids don't know exactly how long they have to complete a task, they may just kind of wander around in their mind a little bit, may mess around more. But there's actually a visual timer up here. If I see a student off task, I can point to it and say, hey, you only got 8 minutes left, you better get going. Or I can say, it's been 5 minutes already, you haven't done anything. So I use this all the time, especially for my warm-up when students first walk into class. The other thing I want to point out is this up here. This is one of the warm-ups that I have. Once again, this is something they can work on independently without my help or my assistance. Because once again, I'm taking care of the things I need to take care of. So at the beginning of the year, I usually have about 4 different kinds of warm-ups that I'll do. This one's called geographical reasoning, which is like a map. Then I have terms and names. Then there's chronological thinking, where it has to do with the timeline. And it might be something else where you have to read something and just answer some questions. But they know how to do all that already. They know that because we practice at the beginning of the year. And so students will come in, they got the timer going up here, so they know how long they work on it. They read the instructions, and they've seen this hundreds of times now, right? It tells them take a blank piece of paper, what to tile it, how to set it up, and then what they need to do. And it actually tells them you only have 10 minutes. So once again, visual cue, visual cue. Students do not need to ask me what to do. They know that already. Then my job is the following. My job, I have my seating chart here, and my job is to take roll. So students come in, I'm at the door, boom, bell rings, they come in, they sit down, they do the work. And my job is to make sure everybody's quiet and doing the work. And so I got my seating chart here that shows me where all the students are at. And so I'll quickly do the roll. It takes me 30 seconds. I see where they're at, absent, 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 and I put it on the seating chart, absent, then roll is done. Then my job is just to make sure to go around, make sure that the energy of the classroom is exactly where I want it. Not too hyper, not too quiet, students on task, not off task, and as well all that put in place. The other weapon in my arsenal is this, is my teacher versus student. It's in one of my other videos, by the way, teacher versus student, is right here. So class walks in, a little noisy, time, the bell rings, and they're kind of chatty. I'll get their attention. I'll say, hey guys, assignment's up there, you know what to do. And I'll give myself a mark over here. Once again, I explained this on another video, you can take a look at that. But that is a cue for them to quiet. Once I have them quieted down where I want them to be quiet, I see that they're working, then I can quickly do roll and I can monitor the room. Once again, what energy you accept at the beginning of the room, at the beginning of the period, is what you're gonna have the rest of the period. So, by the way, the warm-up here, if you like a copy of my warm-ups, I'll put a link in the description. Just click on the link and I can send you the warm-ups that I use, just so you can see how they're laid out. And you can use them as a guideline for whatever you might want to do. So the first 5 minutes determines the entire class period. So please don't overlook that. Please make sure you got solid routines and procedures in place, so that way you can have a smooth opening of your class as well as a smooth classroom period.